What is up, guys? In today's video we're going to be spectating random players in Fortnite Zero Builds, going over what I think they do well, what they could do differently, and just the state of the game right now. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like some more, comment down below one thing you hope to see Fortnite do better in 2026, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So hopefully Battlewood Boulevard has a good amount of people this game. It was just the first POI in the bus path, so I was hoping it would be decently contested here. It looks like this guy's going to be going for the chest. Both of them are. Sir? Oh no, hold on. I gotta back up. That way I don't randomly get thrown across the map. Alright, can you eliminate me now? If I die to somebody and then they die before I actually start spectating them, it just makes me spectate somebody across the map, and it's like an absolute struggle. But we're going to be on board with Train here. I believe he already had a crown because he didn't pick mine up, and it looked like there was like a glow around him. So that is good, but one problematic thing is that the crown is going to be marked here, and so everybody else at the POI is going to kind of know where he is. So distancing himself from that area is kind of nice. Not very much loot thus far, though. I don't know why he drank the big and set before the minis. I don't know if he had the minis before or what, but yeah, like obviously you want to drink the minis before the big. That's just probably a random mistake that happened because he was not paying the most attention. Interested to see if he goes with the Deadeye AR here or the tactical AR. I think the Deadeye is much better because it has that red dot sight. But if you are someone who wants to snipe, using something like the tac AR or maybe even like the tac pistol does make sense. The vending machines from this POI, but he doesn't have very much gold, and that's one thing that I don't know why. There's a guy behind him at the vending machine. You just saw them. I think he didn't know they were there. One thing about this season is that like getting gold early on is so beneficial because you can get those like guaranteed shield out of the vending machines, and a lot of times just looting these POIs, it can be such a hassle to get shield. This is gonna be a slurp for him. That's good. I was gonna say like the addition of the slurp and the addition of like this extra loot around the POIs for Winterfest helps for that. But those extra chests that were added with the Christmas trees will be removed when Winterfest ends. So it will go back to being a bit of a struggle to loot. So knowing like kind of where the buildings are that have cash registers in your POI and like getting those matters a lot more this season. And for this POI, there's a lot of cash registers, I think, to like his left area. More in the shopping section. This is somebody in the theater in front of him. Not only can you hear them breaking those barrels, but you would have known for sure there was somebody around here because those chests at the Christmas tree were opened. If those chests were unopened, then you would maybe like be a bit more questioning if anyone was here. Obviously, those doors opened as well. But seeing that stuff opened, you know immediately like there's somebody in this area. It definitely wasn't any of the people that he had fought earlier. Spin this grenades, it's not really going to do anything at all. Also, I don't really know what he's playing for here because even if the guy peeks one of those windows, I don't think he's getting that much damage on them. I'm going to try to push up. Now he's blue shotgun. I was going to say he has no like high rarity shotgun or decent rarity shotgun. He does have full health, which might be an advantage he has over this player because they were getting barrels, so they might be on the struggle. But unfortunately for him, like this person's waiting there. Like there's not really too much that can be done there aside from just like not pushing at all, I guess. But I don't even really fault him for pushing that much. Like those stalematey situations where you're just like waiting for them and they're waiting for you. Like obviously you do want to get opening damage to start a fight, but also playing so incredibly safe and slow to start the game sets you back and like kind of increases your chances of getting third partied, I think. If you're just going to sit on that roof for an hour and wait, like eventually someone's going to come through here. And with how deadly these ARs are, you don't want to get caught off guard and shot. Like that is not what you want at all. Things can go bad very quickly for you in that situation. This player has okay loot. I'm not really a fan of the lightning gun, but they have bunkers and they have mobility, which is good. They're not healthy, but that problem could be solved at the vending machines that we were previously looking at. And they have enough gold to make that, you know, it's going to be no big deal. They could heal their white health. They could buy 3 bigs, and then now they have heals and they're full health. Now the emoting starts. Whenever I make these videos, I feel like people, like I'm spectating them, so I feel like they randomly emote because of that. Because they're like, oh, somebody's spectating me. This person's salty. But also there's a bug in the game currently where it shows like much more spectators than you currently have. If you ever pay attention recently, you'll have quite a few spectators later on in the game if you've gotten several kills, but like it's just a bug. Those people aren't always like actually spectating. I don't like that they dropped the bunkers for the heals. Like bunkers they've always been good in zero build, but with how this season plays out, I am more likely to carry them than I previously was for sure. I would rather have double mobility, but if I don't have double mobility, then I'm happy to have mobility in bunkers. And I feel like the lightning gun is really unnecessary because it's kind of just like a dumb, just like up close spammy item. Like you get in the close range fight and you're just going to pull that on and spam it. The shotguns do the same thing. So like there's a lot of overlap here in terms of like what his lightning gun is going to do and what his shotgun is going to do. And I'm interested to see like when he even ends up using the lightning gun. Maybe to kill a bush or something. And if he is only going to use the lightning gun in close range fights, then he maybe doesn't need the shotgun as much. Like it's kind of like running the dual SMGs with the dual shotguns. Like you just don't need it. But we will see what they get into during the course of this match, and if they end up in a situation where like, wow, bunkers would have really helped out there. And I expect that to be the case because, like I said, how the season plays out, having those cover items can be very much life-saving. If I was in this player's shoes now, I would want to go to the Battlewood Mountain up there. There is often people there, but I don't want to be down in this bottom area and then be shot from somebody who's up there. And then once you get there, you can kind of see the Humble Hills area. You can see this gas station. You can see this area over here. You get so much vision on this area around these POIs when you're on that Battlewood Mountain. So anytime I do come through this area, I go to that first and then look around and then maybe go somewhere else after that. Because right now he's going to be able to shoot shots at this guy and this is going to be a free kill because it's a bot player. But right now, if there's anybody on the mountain, he's potentially a free kill to them. Or, you know, free a lot of damage. Because he's shooting at AI here. I think he's going to keep the minis. Okay, fix the big. I was going to say, I think he's going to keep those minis. I much prefer big pots. Big pots or chug jug are definitely my preferred healing item this season. And this is like an awkward fight. Player's just playing the bubble. Timing is kind of on the... Oh, this is perfect. I'll explain what happened there in a moment. Okay, so that was worst case scenario of everything, by the way. Because I talked before about how there was overlap between his shotgun and his arc lightning gun for kind of the close range fights. But he chose to use neither of them and just ADS or red dot AR in close range. And you saw he just got easily cleaned up by the player using the shotgun and AR. Yeah, that was as bad as it could have been. This player messed up their shockwave. So I was going to say this is like an awkward fight with this Ruby just sitting in a bubble and then the player we were spectating looking at them. But the player we were spectating had actual cover with the hill, like they could back up and not be seen as much. Whereas the Ruby's cover was going to go away when the bubble expires, and the bubbles don't last very long now. So I was going to say the player we're spectating is in a good situation. They just got to sit here and with their gun out and wait for the bubble to expire. But the player, for some reason, ran out of the bubble at them. They tried to shockwave at them, but the thing about shockwaves is if you're inside the bubble and the shockwave is inside the bubble, then you can be affected by the shockwave. But if you're outside the bubble and the shockwave is inside, or vice versa of that, you're not going to be affected. So they just messed up shockwaving. But what they could have done is thrown another bubble kind of at the midway point between themselves and the player we were spectating, and then pushed to that bubble and played the bubble fight from there. And I feel like that would have been much better than trying to shockwave through, because even shockwaving through like that, it's not really a fight you want to be having as much. I think if the player we were spectating used their dual shotguns or used their lightning gun, then this player we were spectating now probably would have been eliminated. But they just really messed up, and I don't know if they were really uncomfortable weapon swapping or what, but they had 3 weapons and they used the worst one for that fight. And then they also kind of used it in the worst way. Because they were just sitting there like crouching, aimed in. Like the player we're spectating now, the Ruby, was able to just like kind of strafe around them and get a much easier fight than what otherwise would have been. Where the 1Z lady, if she had her dual shotguns out, she had her arc lightning gun out, she can be moving around as well. She could be like jumping and just being annoying to fight. Not really sure what this player is fishing for. Are they going to fish for a full stack of shield fish? I thought they were just getting whites because they were here, which is like fine. But if they're gonna get a whole stack of shieldfish. Shieldfish are like the best healing item, but this is just like extra to do. Especially for public matches. I'm trying to spectate a different player, but I wasn't doing it. This player has no heals. I wonder what NPC they have though. I wonder if it's like the heal NPC. I don't think it would be because they're both on the other side of the map. Okay, I think this is the lady that gives you items. So if this Midas holds out shockwaves, she should drop him shockwaves. But as always, like this is a setup that is high risk, high reward. You have typically in zero build, you kind of have to choose between double mobility or 3 guns, or mobility and utility or 3 guns. It's hard to justify using 3 guns because there's a lot of other items that are valuable. But this player chooses to accomplish that by like not having heals, which can work. But if a fight ever goes bad for him, it's going to be hard for him to regain in that moment. Even with his mobility, like you could say he just could shockwave away and go to the gas station to heal. If an enemy is chasing, not being able to heal like that little bit you can in the little moments of alone time you get, is something that can really cost you. It's a very, like I said, high risk, high reward. It's a very fragile loadout. When things work, it can work. It's a snipe, he's going to push this, and it's going to be like, should be an easy cleanup. But this player has mobility of their own, and so they're going to be able to get away. And now things are really bad for this Midas. If he doesn't get this kill, then things are very, 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 very problematic. Because he used all his shockwaves to push that, and now he's only left with the wingsuit, which is not a very good, like, panic mobility item. He does have heals now, so that's a little bit helpful. But it's going to be harder for him to chase kills, and it's going to be harder for him to get out of bad situations now because he just has the wingsuit. And when you have the wingsuit, your opponents have much more of a say in a matter of, like, if you get to them or not. Like, if you're trying to push somebody with the wingsuit, they can just beam you out of the air. And even if they don't eliminate you, they can get so much damage on you that that fight is hard to play for you now. Whereas, like, the shockwaves and the blade, I feel like are so much better for pushing and so much better for getting away from bad situations. There's somebody in that bush, I think. Yeah. Oh, no, this is AI. And it seems like the way this player wants to play is just hit a snipe and then push, which it's very good and makes sense. But without pushing mobility, it's something that can go really, really bad for him because of how lethal the Deadeye Air is. And that's why I'm not the biggest fan of the wingsuit. Like, I'll definitely use it in a lot of situations because the katana is rough to get some games. But if I was only going to take one mobility item, it would be last. What I'd prefer least. And then also him using his final shockwave there made it to where he couldn't get more from this lady. Because the supply NPC gives you what you have out. She can give you shockwaves if you hold out shockwaves. But if you don't have any shockwaves to hold out, she can't give you any more. So that's why I was saying it's like a big kill for him to get. Because he loses out a lot of value there. And gets back basically nothing. I'm just, like, stressed with where he is too. Because he could be shot in the back very easily here. Zone pulled far. He's probably just going to wingsuit to it last moment. I would imagine that's what a lot of people do this season. Enemy shockwaved away. It's unfortunate timing. The moment he gets off the roof trying to hold them, they shockwave away. Where they went, who really knows? Because he wasn't looking. Now you just got to go, I think, if you're this player. Like, start moving into zone. Could wingsuit, but wingsuiting over a vast area that you have no information on, again, leaves you, like, vulnerable to just getting sent back to the lobby very quickly. So he just uses it for, like, a small little jump like that, which I think is good in a situation where you don't really know much about it. He gets to that piece of safety, and then he can play from there. There's an enemy. You need to get up this. Okay, nice. I was going to say, you need to get to the top of this hill before them. Because if he's able to get here and hold the enemy, it's a lot better than the inverse of that if they get up here first. If I had shockwaves there, I probably would have just, like, shockwaved to the top of this hill. I'm like nervous with how much he wants to snipe. It seems like he really wants to snipe. Oh, GG's probably. But a lot of times, like, forcing the snipe like this, you're getting less out of the game than if you just, you know, use the AR. And he's dead to storm. That's why shockwaves are, you know, a very good mobility item. This player can just go over his head to that bush, get a very good angle to the fight, and then the Midas we're spectating can't really do anything about it because the only mobility they have is the wingsuit. He maybe could have just like ran away and slid down the mountain or something, but also this player would shoot them in the back if they did that. I feel like that's like a very just terrible situation for that Midas. Three opponents remain. I would want to go buy big pots if I was this player, but they might not need to. It sounds like there might be fighting, but we have like the audio bug where we don't hear shots. Three opponents though. But one slurp is heals. I'm not the biggest fan on slurps. The legendary slurps were obviously very good. It healed you very quick. It healed a lot of health and shield at the same time. But these slurps just do health first and then shield. Alright, the third party situation. He gets shots and he's going to push it. Get the chug jug. And the chug isn't that great. It's not full. It's only 40. I think he missed his plum shot. This should be a kill though. I would be more worried about the other player. That lady who had the sword who got away from the Midas earlier. Please buy bigs. This lady might be trying to. I even know where she went. Just gotta go to zone now. But I think he picked up this chug thinking it was full. And the chug jugs this season no longer drop full when you eliminate somebody or somebody who has it gets eliminated. So he's just left with 40 chug, which sucks. You gotta be like mindful of that when you pick one up. They're maybe going to fight up there, but the player we're spectating doesn't really have much of an opportunity to third party it. Oh, they're pushing to him. This is terrible. He's dead here, I think. He's going to get this kill, but he's going to get third partied. Yeah, they needed to not do with that. So they were going to fight up there. I feel like or it looked like they were about to fight there. I feel like you pre-aim that with AR, or you just straight rotate the zone, but he like went out in the open. Like if he went on the low ground to like here to get in like this bush or something, I feel like that would have made more sense, but I don't know where he was going there, and like I didn't think he was gonna get to third party it anyways. Like this time, if they were gonna fight on that mountain, he could maybe like steal the kill with AR. Like if both players get each other very weak, then the final player's left one shot. That's fine. Or he can like look to hold them. But just running out in the open like that, I like immediately said like this is over. If he had stayed at his cover, he could have shot the player swording, and then they wouldn't have been able to get to him, and he wouldn't have taken as much damage. But once he just has that open, random fight, it sets this lady up to third party perfectly. Like, she just got the easiest win of all time there. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.